Well, this is an 83 carat cabochon that I made back in 2014, before most of you were born. I mean, it's a great cabochon, but later in the video, I'm going to cut it up and make a real opal out of it. This is a 7.5 ounce parcel of fantastic dark base Mintabie opal that I recently acquired with the help of my good friend Ellie Illich, who did the hard part. I mean, except for paying for it. I'm going to take this 218 carat piece and make a pendant for my wife for our daughter's wedding, which is in about 3 months. This piece is much larger than any normal earthling female would wear, but start big is what they say. Who says that? First, let's see if I can expose the top layer. I got a little off on the left edge. Now we're starting to see some nice color. It looks green, but at certain angles it seems to be red, along with other colors. I need to see the thickness of the color bar and also get rid of some mass here, so I'll cut it right down the middle. I'm cutting here because side A has a narrower color bar than B, as far as I can see it now. So we have a successful cut here, right down the middle. Now you can see that the color bar of B is nice and thick all the way around. Surely I can find a nice pendant in here somewhere, right? But these cloudy areas are basically potch, which is common opal or opal without play of color. They may present quite a challenge. I think that it's best to remove the area at the base and save it for later. Well, I made 2 cuts in the entire edge's thick color bar, and there are very few areas of trouble left in this stone. And that's the way it should always be with opal, right? But it almost never is. Well, after a fairly long session of grinding, this is what I have, and I'm sure my wife will love it. Get that piece of shit out of my face, a**hole. Can't you see that I'm playing Angry Birds? It turns out that she didn't like the dark background. It reminds me of death, she said. Well, I don't see that. All I see is opal. Death by opal? 2021 me doesn't exactly like the shape of this otherwise exquisite cabochon, but maybe we can correct that today. But back in 2014, I was trying to make a spectacular pendant for my wife for my daughter's wedding. Anyway, the deadline was approaching and I was almost out of options. Yes, I had the Desert Queen, 250 carats of beautiful red crystal opal that I bought from John Dunstan the year before, but honestly, it was too nice to cut, and it's still sitting in that bank vault next to my expired passport. Well, I know you guys want to know how the story ended. I mean, you're so damn nosy. Well, I ended up having to spend $8,000 for just 50 carats, 1/3 of an ounce of the finest opal ever mined at Mintabie. I bought it from Murray Willis of Australian Opal Mines. Murray got kind of pissed off at me because I kept asking, "Are you sure that the background isn't gray? Are you?" With it, I made the rainbow shield, which is still the finest piece of opal jewelry that I've ever done. You don't often get to see someone take a giant, beautiful cabochon like this and chop it up, do you? Well, you don't often have someone who's certifiably crazy at the wheel. Let's do it. That means this stone will be smaller, and this might just be a fragment, and we could give this away. This still looks great. Now you can clearly see that this is lesser quality and this is lesser quality. Back then, I was young and foolish. In 2014, I thought you had to get a great big giant cabochon and, well, there was nothing else more important in life. But today, mature me says, wait a minute, fella. You don't need all that stinking opal. A small cabochon, say 40 carats, is plenty big enough. This is 27.5 carats, this is 47.9 carats, and this is 5.8 carats. This is the giveaway stone. If you want to keep it just as it is, make a nice souvenir, or maybe you can give it to your Uber driver or something. Well, I want to make this, want to get this thing going and take the corners off, shape this thing, make it roughly oval, but with a slight point at one end. Going pretty well now. Nice. I mean, this is just much better. I've got a flat edge here, which is not exactly ideal, but I think that a stone like this would be good, and all that I would be sacrificing is a very thin color bar here and some sand. So I'll lightly touch this side. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, any complaints? I'll flatten this side and we'll get something symmetrical, and then we may just leave it at that. I think that's probably a good plan. Well, I'm shaping the stone now. Let's go to it. I'll flatten this side. And it shouldn't take much, and we'll have the basic shape of the stone finished. It looks pretty good. In order to evaluate the stone for use in a pendant, you hold it upright in the angle that it would be hanging. Just looking at it, even from slightly above, gives a very good idea of how it will look and lets you figure out the best way to cut it. In this position, it would be great as a pendant, but let's see if there are any others. That's not bad. That's not good. That's pretty good. And back. So there's the number 2 position, and it has a little bit more side-to-side flash. Almost any way that I cut it, it's going to look good. Okay, the goal here is to round off this top and take a little bit off the sides. I'm trying to get to a roughly diamond shape, but I think it would be better if I sort of rounded the top rather than kept them at sharp angles. Looks pretty good. Just shaping it. The shape looks good enough for now. Well, how easy was that? I mean, I've got the rough shape now. I mean, it still needs modification. I've got plenty of color. I don't think I'm going to lose any. If I lose a little bit, well, that's the way it goes. I think that I won't lose any. It might just be slightly different. The pattern might just be different. Okay, the goal here is to round off these sharp edges and put basically a shallow dome on it. You need to go all the way around it, around the edges, and basically make a cabochon with a slight dome. Not more, not less, but just right. Using the 600 Nova wheel basically smooths out the surface, something that can be a little rough on a steel wheel. But when I move to the 1200, then I'm getting into high-level sanding, and then the 3000 is early polishing, and the 14,000, well, it will give you a suitable polish, but we need to go to cerium oxide to finish it. At 5.5 carats, our giveaway stone is not the pick of the litter, but is scrappy and has a pretty face. In second place, this beautiful opal is just short of 20 carats. Well, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, but coming in second to this bride is surely no disgrace. At 41.09 carats, our prima ballerina is a superstar. Striking colors that pop in both portrait and landscape, and one of the top few stones that I've ever cut. An opal that earned her name the hard way. It's Death by Opal, and she's destined to adorn the neck of an A-lister, unless someone steals her. The winner of the 12.2 carat opal arrowhead is Opal Justice. To enter the giveaway, leave a comment about what you'll be bringing to my 50,000 subscriber potluck dinner, and it doesn't have to be food. Now, I hope you'll stick around for a few minutes and watch me pan for gold. I think you'll be glad that you did. Well, it's the first time my sink has been featured in a video since Sheila fell in. I'm sure you all remember that one. In here, I have the real thing. This is pay dirt. It's where you find gold, but you have to get it out from all the dirt. So what do? Well, you get a gold pan. And I mean, could this be any cheaper? Look, they sell them on They sell them at Walgreens. It's got a hole here that you just hang it on the rack. Anyway, this thing's filled with pay dirt. Now, I really don't know what to expect. I've never done this, but that's never stopped me before. So Mike at Vendetta Prospecting sent this to me. And so for all your gold pay dirt needs, Mike is there to help you out. Vendetta. So 0.5 grams guaranteed gold. What the heck? I didn't notice it. Parker and I do this. Parker Schnabel, of course, of Gold Rush. He comes over every now and then, and we just sit back and we take ourselves a bag of Vendetta Prospecting gold. We just like pour it in our pans, just like that. Down the drain. Now, what we're supposed to be seeing here is, you see, gold is heavier than dirt. I mean, I'm not saying gold is heavier than dirt. I'm saying gold is heavier than dirt. So the gold sinks to the bottom, and all you have to do is like swirl this stuff around like that, and your dirt comes out, and your gold stays in the pan. Notice I don't even have the drain blocked. That's how confident I am. That's because Parker and I do this all the time. He brings his D10 dozer. We go out and rip up some stuff, and you know. Wait a minute. Stop the music. It's an arrowhead. It's an Opal arrowhead. I told you they have Native Americans in Australia. I tried to tell you guys, but you wouldn't listen. They're there, and this is evidence of it. This is Australian stuff. Now, this is more gold than Parker gets in his pans. That's a lot of gold. Sometimes they put a whole big dump truck through and they don't get this much. Here's the final haul. 0.52 grams of gold nuggets. Well, tiny little gold nuggets, but nuggets nonetheless. See if I can zoom in on them. If you want a size comparison, here you go. You can compare it to this rubber tongue. So this would look like if you put your tongue next to it. Look, if you've got a rubber tongue, you can collect some gold. I'm doing a second giveaway for this video for those who stayed around to watch me pan for gold. I'm giving away this bag of Vendetta Prospecting pay dirt. Just add your favorite color to the comment about what you'll be bringing to the potluck dinner. And no, I don't want any blue spaghetti. Got it? We've had some crazy days here at Pulitzer Opal, and I have one question. Why do you never hit the subscribe button? I'm just saying. I'll see you next time. My name is Sheila, and I'm an Opalholic.